La-di-da-di-da. We're going to make sure this is working real quick. Hopefully somebody actually comes in here. Get my channel up so I can see if anybody wants to say anything. There we go. And it didn't change my thumbnail at all. Ain't that about a bitch? Let me see. Is it still showing the two same things? Yes, it is. That bastard. Oh well. How does it say it? No views, 19 minutes. Anyways. Anybody that wants to take and chit chat, we can chit chat. I'm just going to take and shoot some shit about NFL. Preseason on that starts on Thursday night with the Hall of Fame game. You've got the Broncos versus the Cowboys. What is it? Hall of Fame game. Versus the Falcons. Oh, Lord. So this will be one of those games where about the first quarter you'll take and see some of the higher level rookies, and then you'll see a bunch of scrubs and everything else from about the middle of the second quarter to the end of the game for both teams. That's just how it works. And it's normally like that for every team in the first two. Normally it's the first two games. You don't really start seeing starters take and stay in the game past the first quarter, or past the first series or two for the first two games of the NFL preseason, and then after that, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Sorry I didn't join your live stream there earlier, Alex. Kind of doing a little bit of legwork for this, so I can at least take and sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to football. So there's a lot of movement that happened in the off season for the NFL. I mean, people are just leaving left and right. I might do that, Alex, once I get off of here. If y'all still on, I'll take and hop over and join y'all. Yeah, because if not for doing the picking out some people that were traded and signed and stuff like that, I'd have been on earlier when I seen you first go live. But I was like, I can't do that. I got to take and need to do some stuff on my channel too. So, but yeah, this off season was kind of, well, there's people that moved all over the place. Le'Veon Bell last year, he took and held out, did not play a down for the Steelers. I mean, he's like, nope, I'm worth more than what you're paying me. And then his contract isn't exactly the best for running backs. It's right in line with Todd Gurley, and to be honest, with all the work that he was doing, the kind of pay he was asking for, kind of shortchanged himself, if you ask me. Antonio Brown went to the Raiders, so the killer bees that were in Pittsburgh, I agree. I think the Jets could make the playoffs too. They're one of those teams that they improved a pretty good bit. Just the fact of them adding Le'Veon Bell is going to take and add a whole new dynamic for Sam Darnold. Jeremy, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I think Le'Veon Bell is going to take and provide that much needed, much needed safety valve for Sam Darnold in this coming season. And I think them signing C.J. Mosley, taking and getting Quinnen Williams in the draft, and just some of the moves they did, really smart compared to previous years. The Chiefs, we're going to have to see how the defense of the Chiefs is going to do this coming year. Last year, they couldn't stop anything. I mean, that must have been some interesting practices at Arrowhead Stadium. But the good thing is they got the Cadillac, or excuse me, they got the Ferrari. Patrick Mahomes, and that boy can take and score with the best of them. Simple as that. He's got that old Brett Favre gunslinger mentality. I think he's a lot more accurate than Favre was, though. He takes calculated risks, whereas Favre just took risks. Didn't always pay off. I'm interested to see how they're going to do. I mean, they also took and lost their starting running back, and they also Tyreek Hill. I guess we'll see if anything else comes down about that with the child abuse case or whatever. Depending on what if anything else comes to the courts or if NFL gets their hands on anything else that shines some more light on that situation. But you know, I think Patrick Mahomes, if he doesn't regress like a lot of people do in their second year in the NFL, I think we could see something really, really special, even past what he was this past year. Odell Beckham Jr. went to the Browns. I mean, good Lord. That team right there, I'm going to tell you what, the Browns, for the longest time, have been the laughingstock of the NFL. I mean, their front office has been horrible. It's just been one failure after another. And they got OBJ. They took and got Greg Robinson. They got Olivier Vernon. They added people all over the place. So it's going to be interesting to see how they take and actually do this year. Sheldon Richardson. I mean, they already had pretty stout defense last year, but good God. And you got, I tell you, the Packers are going to be interesting to watch on defense too, because normally, you watch the Packers and you associate their success with Aaron Rodgers, but they had a damn good defense last year, and this year they added Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, and Adrian Amos, who comes over from the Chicago Bears. I mean, so I think it's going to be interesting to see exactly if it's before Rodgers and his receivers quite gel like they're supposed to, because they've still got Devontae Adams over there, and they got Noah Fant now, but not Noah Fant, the other fella, the other tight end from Iowa, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they no longer have Randall Cobb. They no longer have all they've got Devontae Adams, which is one of their three mainstays they've had there for a while. So, but I think they've seen enough with some of the rookies they had last year at wide receiver. They kind of build on that. So, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think the Packers defense, I think, is going to take and really be what's interesting to watch, because they might carry them the first couple of games until that offense can gel a little bit. I think it's also going to be interesting to watch the dynamic between Rodgers and the new coach, because he's got a set in stone system. He's bringing over from basically the 49ers head coach Shanahan, bringing that offensive playbook over, and it'd be interesting to see how much control he's given over to audibles and stuff like that. Had LaMarcus Joyner to the Raiders. I mean, Trent Brown went to the Raiders. They drafted really good. I mean, they got Josh Jacobs. They got, that's another team between Antonio Brown, Trent Brown. There's LaMarcus Joyner. They're going to be a different look team this year too. And a lot of people laughed whenever they took and brought John Gruden back, but I think that was necessary for them to take and kind of get that edge. And last year everybody's like, oh, he took and got rid of, he took and got rid of so. He had to strip the team down to get the players to buy in, or the players that he wanted to keep to take and buy in to the work ethic that he expects and to the level of success that he expects. You're not going to have that when you've got people in the locker room that aren't going to pay attention to what the coach is saying. It's just not going to work like that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Raiders take and do this year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I do believe that they're going to wind up taking surprises from folks. I wouldn't be surprised if they went like 7-9 or something like that. Be a marked improvement over last season. That's for damn sure. Roger Stafford, offensive tackle, went to the Titans, and the Titans had a pretty decent draft. I'll be honest with you, though. I think Mariota, I just think he's going to impede any kind of growth that offense could have. He's a good quarterback, but he's so inconsistent. I mean, maybe now they've got a little bit more of, they took and got Adam Humphries there for the slot position. They got Corey Jones on the outside. Jonnu Smith was coming on last year. They take and get, and I can't remember his name right now. The other tight end that was out all of last year, just about. They've got Derrick Henry in the backfield, and once they started feeding him the ball 25, 30 times a game, he started showing what he could do. He's one of those running backs that he takes a minute to take and warm up. Once he gets warmed up, it's all gravy. Trey Flowers went from the Patriots to the Lions. It'd be interesting to see how their defense is. Matt Patricia, you taking a look at how his teams did whenever he was, with the Patriots and stuff like that. They were always pretty decent. So it's going to be interesting to see how that does. Another thing also for the Chiefs, they got Tyrann Mathieu and Carlos Hyde. And last year, Carlos, I'll be honest with you, I didn't understand him taking and signing with the Browns because he didn't really fit the offense. Then he got traded over there to the Jacksons, even the Hugh Jackson had. Because he can bruise and he can run between the tackles, but he can also catch the ball really well out of the background. So I think if the Chiefs can take and get some backbone to that defense. I mean, they got rid of some players. I mean, Justin Houston left them. D Ford is gone. It kind of makes you wonder exactly. They couldn't stop anything before. So, Tyrann Mathieu is a good ad, but, I don't know if the other people they took and added and the people that they drafted are going to be good enough to actually bulk up the way they need to. Josh Rosen got traded to the Dolphins from the Cardinals. That boy got done dirty. I'm going to say it right now. That boy got done dirty. Arizona should have given him another chance and should have told Cliff Kingsbury, this is who your quarterback's going to be. Live with it. Make it work. Because he shows promise. He had nothing last year in Arizona. I mean, the man had David Johnson, who was coming back off of an ACL injury. You had Christian Kirk emerge, but that was midway through the season. You got Larry Fitzgerald, and he's basically Father Time. How do you expect any kind of success? Well, looks like him. But how do you expect any kind of success, with the kind of team that he had around him? And then they get Cliff Kingsbury, who's been awesome as an offensive coordinator in college, but as a head coach, he had a losing record. High scoring offenses, losing record. He's part, and this is the thing that gets me. The NFL is starting to take and buy into the air raid offense. Now, air raid's been around for years. It's been around since the 70s. And it's been tried in the NFL before and it's failed. But now, since they added the RPO wrinkle to the air raid system, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've watched Alabama take and beat the crap out of teams that use the air raid system there in college. I don't think it's a viable option for teams in the NFL. I just don't, because you've got so much better talent in the NFL. And I know teams have implemented parts of the air raid. And I can understand doing that because you've got to innovate in some way to make yourself stand out. So the RPO, some of the underneath timing routes and stuff like that you'll take and see that are part of that are big in the air raid that'll take, 10 yards down the field or 7 yards down the field that get you 15, 25 yards. Well, that's all fine and dandy, adding a player 3 here or there in your playbook off of both aspects of it. But to predicate your whole system on the air raid offense, man, I don't know if that's going to work in the NFL. But Cliff Kingsbury has his quarterback now with Kyler Murray. They took and drafted him number 1. But like I said, he's got Fitzgerald is past his prime. David Johnson is a one-man crew, basically. He catches the ball and he can run the ball. But past Fitzgerald and David Johnson, they don't really have a whole lot for that offense. Christian Kirk, I'll give him another 2 years before he's actually a decent wide receiver who has taken and learned the aspects of the NFL. He's not going to be able to dominate the way he did in the SEC, and it showed last season. Cheers, John. We're just talking a little bit of football, and we're talking a little bit of maybe some TV and stuff like that later on, some video games. Depends on how long I decide to go with this. C.J. Mosley went to the Jets. Ty Montgomery went to the Jets. So, that's one of the things with the Jets. They've got C.J. Mosley to help with that defense. Ty Montgomery along with Le'Veon Bell to help with that offense at the running back position. Ty Montgomery, I'll be honest with you, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to take and move him back over to wide receiver, or to take and use him as a decoy to take and open up some more of the field for Le'Veon Bell and for Sam Darnold. They can get some stuff done. It's gonna be interesting to take and watch that offense this year. I'll be honest with you on that one. I think it's gonna be interesting to watch them and the growth of Sam Darnold in year 2. I just really do. It's just going to be really interesting. Tevin Coleman also went to the 49ers. Now, he spent his career so far before this in Atlanta, and he was a compliment to Devontae Freeman. Zoe, hey. Yeah, I'm streaming. Yes, you can laugh. Just don't get it out of hand. Tevin Coleman he complimented Devontae Freeman. So it's going to be interesting to see how it is whenever he's the premier back. Because even last year, whenever Freeman went down, he didn't have quite as much success as you might think, as explosive as he can be. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes in San Francisco, and also be interested to see how it goes in Kyle Shanahan's 3rd year now. So, you got. I tell you, with the landscape with the NFL and the way it is, they're talking about a new CBA coming up and everything like that. It's this year, I think, with TV numbers and how well the Super Bowl is viewed and everything like that. I think once they come around to the next CBA, I think it's going to be hard pressed for the owners not to take and give up more than what they've been giving up. That being said, they might not, that being said, the NFL has been so big for so long, but I also see the NBA taking a start and actually creep into some of the popularity that the NFL has been seeing, because they've done some brilliant moves in the last couple of years. Excuse me for this. I think the retirement of Gronk is going to hurt the Patriots. I know a lot of last 2 or 3 years during the regular season, Gronk, he played important parts here and there, but not so much like he had done in years past. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch exactly how well. And I got to take and adjust my focus a little bit. Seems I was a little bit too close. It's going to see how they take and do without Gronk. He's been one of the stabilizing forces for that team. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they're able to take and do offensively without having that presence there at tight end. It's not like they're lacking of talent or anything like that. Hell, Bill Belichick's one of the best coaches that have ever coached in the game. Now, depending on how you look at things, whether or not you want to take into effect, Spygate or Deflategate, whatever else you want to take and look at, it's not like no other team has never taken and been at other teams' practices or games and known what the signs are, known what signs mean for what plays. That's happened in the past. It's just teams did it rampantly. They've done it rampantly. It's just they didn't get caught the way the Patriots did. Same thing with Deflategate. There was quarterbacks that took and played in the 80s and 90s that said that if they had been alive during that, if they had been ever had their balls checked before a game was played, I said balls, before a game was played, they would have gotten in trouble according to the rules because they'd have their have the football inflated by 2 or 3% or deflated by 3 or 4%. So I mean, it's not like that he's the only player that's ever done it. He got caught. Everybody gets, nobody likes a team that always wins. As Alabama and now Clemson. So I think it's just a matter of time before we see. I think maybe the dynasty is going to start tailing off. I mean, Tom Brady is 60 now, 70. No, he's almost 50. That's right. Anyways, it's just at some point in time you're going to see that drop off, and I think this is the year we see the drop off of the Patriots. I honestly do. So the question is, what team rises in its place? I think in the AFC North, we're seeing a shift. We'll wind up seeing a shift to power. For the longest time, the Steelers have been the team to beat. Well, I think it's going to be more like the 80s and early 90s, where they were no longer the team to beat. It wasn't until the mid 90s and Bill Cowher come along that the Steelers started, being one of those, franchises again, that one of the old guard franchises that were doing amazingly. So I think we're going to wind up seeing, I don't know, I think the Ravens will take it. They're going to take another slide back, because as much as people doubted on Joe Flacco, until Lamar Jackson, I mean, they're going to have to take and be really, really run heavy until Lamar Jackson can get until he can get his accuracy up, throwing the football, because the boy can sling the ball. I mean, it's like Bear Bryant once said of Sammy Baugh. The boy looks like he's slinging horse shit off his hands. It's what it looks like when Lamar Jackson throws a football. That boy can take and fling the football. The problem is he doesn't do it very accurately. If he does do it accurately, he does it without touch. So once he can get the throwing figured out a little bit better, and they don't have to rely so hard on the running game, I think we're gonna, I think that'll start evening out more for them. I think they're the Browns, as long as they can keep shit together and keep the egos that are in that locker room from Vets and Baker Mayfield in check. I think we're going to see them. I think they're going to be an exciting team to watch this year. The Broncos, man, they took in since Peyton Manning left. They've had Trevor Brock Osweiler, Trevor Simeon. They've had Case Keenum as their quarterback, and this year they're going to be having Joe Flacco. Look, Joe Flacco is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Jesus, I mean, really, you want somebody that old throwing the football? You see what happened to Peyton his last year. Now, Flacco's not going to be as old as Peyton was his last year there, but he was already starting to break down while he was there with the Ravens. I mean, he took and was out with a back problem for half the year last season. So, just saying, maybe it wasn't that smart that they can do that. And so I think the Browns will take and be the team in AFC North this year. AFC South, I think it's a toss-up between the Texans and the Colts. I think the Colts, that coach they've got, Frank Reich, I think he's making all the right moves. The GM that they've got, they've still got a ton of cap space they could have used, but they didn't. So if need be, if somebody becomes available, they can use a little bit of capital and a little bit of money to take and get a better player, to take and maybe push them over the top middle of the season. AFC West, I think that's between the Chargers and the Chiefs, to be honest with you. I don't see the Broncos really competing. And until things change, the AFC East, it's the Patriots. That's how it is. It's the Patriots, Some teams made some decent moves, but until somebody shows us otherwise, it's the Patriots, because they got Bill Belichick and they got Tom Brady. Can never count them out. And the NFC, as far as things are concerned, when you take a look at the NFC East, I think that's wide open. I don't think any of those teams really set themselves apart. I mean, Washington, they had Alex Smith last year break his leg, so Dwayne Haskins was a good quarterback in college. Now, how does that translate to an offense that doesn't really have a whole lot of weapons for you? They've got a killer defense. If they can keep everybody healthy, they got to have a killer defense. But the offense, man, I don't know. Unless Darius Geis can take and get healthy, I think that might help them a lot too. So the Cowboys with Zeke and his holdout, you still got 2 years, homie. Show up to training camp. Still got 2 years on that contract. Show up to training camp. Just saying. Once you get to next year, then you can hold out for a better contract. You still got 2 years on your rookie contract. If it weren't for that, bro, I'd be right behind you. Hold out. Get some more money. You're taking and getting used like a damn borrowed mule. I can understand that. You know. But, well, you still got 2 years on your contract left. There ain't a whole lot of shit you can do. So you're going to get an extension or a new contract that's not going to take an effect until 2 years from now anyways. Bo, you got fucking time. That's all I'm saying. You got fucking time. Show up with your teammates. Jason Witten come back, which I don't know if that was very smart or not. I mean, he's a damn good tight end, but, you know, he's getting to be, what, 50? No, 37. So, I'll be honest with you. I don't care how good of a shape you kept yourself in. You took a year off from the field. Now, it could help you because you took that year off so you could heal up, but it could also really, really hurt you. So, I don't know. I don't see the Cowboys. I see them maybe taking and winning the East this year for the in the NFC, but
I thought you were talking about a fucking game, like a game, a video game.
No, I'm on live stream. You're fine. I'm not worried about it. And so, that was lovely wife talking. She thought I was talking about a video game. But yeah, I think the Cowboys. I think they'll probably wind up winning the East. But then again, it's such a wide open race in the East. It really is. The Giants. I think with Odell Beckham Jr. going, I think they'll actually wind up being a little bit better, just for the simple fact of they'll have some levity in that locker room. Yeah, they're kind of in a transitional rebuild. Which, to be honest, they should have went ahead and there's nothing good that ever comes from a transitional rebuild. You either tear it all the way down, or you build it back up, you know, and build it back up, or you keep being mediocre. So, you know, I think they'll wind up doing better this year without Odell Beckham Jr., but I'm not so sure that it's going to be, you know, more than middling of the pack there in the East. So, in the NFC Central, or excuse me, North, with honey roast pulled pork barbecue. To be honest with you, with a honey roast pulled pork barbecue, I'd take and go with a IPA that's got a little bit of bite to it to kind of counteract that sweetness that you're going to have. A little bit of bitter to take and counteract that sweetness. That, or if you just want to, that, or I take and go with a clean Pilsner, one of the two. Of course, I could be wrong with that, but that's just, it seems like it'd be a really good pairing because you get the bitterness of that to take and wash down some of the sweetness on that pulled pork barbecue, which honey roasted pulled pork barbecue sounds freaking amazing right now. Thanks for making me hungry. Thanks for stopping by also. Appreciate it. Just doing some NFL talk, doing some college football talk here in a minute. Yeah. Which, do you have an NFL team that you pull for? I pull for the Colts myself. I think the NFC North, I think it's going to be a race again between the Bears and the Packers. I don't think really the Lions have done enough. I think the Lions really need to take and just break it all down. Find a new home for Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's been a linchpin there for so long. But, I mean, really, the man, you know, Patricia's still playing with somebody else's players. You're not going, unless you take the John Gruden route and completely break everything down just about in one season, during the season. It's going to be kind of hard for all that, man. I mean, for real. But I think it's Bears and Packers. Vikings. Vikings is going to be dependent on how well they can protect um, Kirk Cousins. Simple as that. Last year they protected him pretty well, but I don't know. I think everybody's kind of got their number again. Rugby. I've never watched rugby. It wasn't until my daughter joined soccer. I'd never watched soccer until earlier this year. Now I love watching the highlights, and if I can catch games on the TV, I'll take and watch soccer now. Which is another thing that a lot of people, especially around where I live at, you take and say anything about soccer, they're like, "Oh, that's a pussy's game." I'm like, if you watching motherfuckers run around that field, I'm sorry, you couldn't take and hang. Just saying. Now, rugby, that's a man sport right there. That's one of those sports where you get bloody and teeth knocked out. It's kind of like hockey. You get the shit beat out of you. As far as the NFC South is concerned, depending on how well the Panthers can protect Cam Newton, which I think Cam Newton, hopefully he doesn't have the same thing happen to him that happened to Andrew Luck with that throwing shoulder issue, the labrum there, because that's what happened with Andrew Luck, and that's what caused him to miss almost 2 seasons was that labrum. So hopefully they can get back to form, but because it looks like they've done some decent switching around and some decent upgrades and everything like that. So, but we do have rugby teams here, but I'll be honest with you, that's not a sport I know a whole lot about. I mean, it looks very similar to American football, but it looks a little bit more brutal than football. And I don't even know how the rules go with that or anything of that nature. But yeah, there are rugby teams here in the U.S. I think the U.S. has a national rugby team. It'd be a sport I need to take a look more into. And it's hard to take and find any kind of like rugby matches on TV around here. Around here, you either take and watch baseball, football, basketball, and that's about it. You have to take and find the specialty channels to watch something like soccer. So, unless it's like the Masters, and they have that on ESPN for that weekend. Oh no, no, it's not. There's some big beefy mofo's that play rugby. There's been some rugby players taking come to the U.S. and play American football, and it's like, holy shit! If they hit somebody, they're gonna take and do some damn damage. Some big old burly motherfuckers. Like everybody that plays rugby is built like a brick shithouse. Might take a look into that. I can kind of converse in rugby a little bit. Take and find somewhere to watch it. Take and learn some of the rules. I mean, some of these sports that don't take and get a whole lot of play around here in the U.S. it's interesting to take and view them or see them even if you don't understand it. Just because we don't they don't play it around here. It's just interesting to take and see the different sports they take and play, like cricket. Cricket kind of looks like baseball, but the guy that I guess bowls the ball to the player or whatever is a hell of a lot closer than the 60 foot. Or at least it looks like it's a whole lot closer to the 60 foot than they are in baseball. And they bare hand that shit. Oh my goodness. And them things, they fly off the bat. Or whatever that is that they play cricket with. That's always been an interesting looking sport to me. I don't even know how to take and I don't know how they score none of that or nothing. It's just it's very interesting. Cricket is a gentleman's game. Oh. Is it one of those games you got to have money to be playing? So a lot of times, at least here in the U.S., gentlemen's games means you got to have money, like rich. Like polo is seen as a gentleman's game. That means you got to have some fucking money to play it. from England. So do you live in England, or do you live? Are you somewhere other than England now? And if you're in England, you know, that is rugby something that they actually take and play pretty often on TV there. Yeah, tennis is one of those sports here in the U.S. that you got to have money to play it. There's no two ways about it. You don't see many people from the lower class or from ghettos and stuff like that playing tennis. You just don't. So is rugby something they play pretty often on the TVs over there in the UK? Like I said, here, I mean, it's. Oh, okay, cool. Oxford, England. Awesome. Yeah, see, rugby seems like something that if it made its way over here, it would start to gain some speed. It's kind of like what is that? Field hockey. Damn, what is that called? I think it might be field hockey or. Yeah, the field hockey or whatever. That's becoming real big over here. Like really big over here in the U.S. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the it's one of the fastest growing sports in the U.S. is field hockey. Whereas used to, you wouldn't ever see anything like that. But now we've started seeing a lot more highlights of field hockey games on ESPN. Even locally, they've got field hockey clubs and stuff like that. And 15 years ago, I didn't, you know, if you'd have said field hockey, I'd have been like, what the hell is that? So I might be saying the wrong thing, but. And no, not field hockey. What is it? What is it? What is that other sport? And actually, according to this article that I'm reading, Global Sports Matters, rugby is the fastest growing sport in the U.S. I did not realize that. There's another sport that I can't think of the name of it. Man, and I can't find it for nothing. Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't find it. There you go. 10 fastest growing sports. Running. No.
The Reaper rides a heavy metal sled that can leach toxic nickel, toxic lead.
And see, one of the other, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, I don't know what the hell it is, but pickleball seems to be another sport that's coming up. Lacrosse, that's the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing sports. No, I didn't play college football. I love watching it though. I've grown up since real small taking and playing or watching college football. I grew up on Alabama football, and but I taken that's my team that I root for. But I take and watch college football season starts, you might as well just take and put me in a room, lock the door, make sure I got enough beer and food and a toilet nearby. Yeah, it's lacrosse looks weird, man. They've got like these sticks with like the nets on the end of them, and they're taking, I don't know what the hell. They take and shoot the ball with the net that's on the end of the stick into almost looks like a smaller soccer net, and they've got a goalie, and that goalie's got one of those sticks with the, I don't know, it's just weird. So I don't know how it comes. I'm gonna have to take and that's another sport I've been wanting to take and look at, because you don't, it's not, who thinks of these games? Something like lacrosse. Ice hockey is for, yeah, ice hockey basically is MMA on skates. Them bad boys, they take and check somebody and you just watch somebody crumple to the ice. That's another sport I've never took and watched a whole lot of. I'll take and watch games here and there. It's just, I've never, like, I live here in the southeastern United States, so college football, college basketball, NFL. Oh, I've seen that bare knuckle boxing is making a comeback in the it's not so big. It hadn't gotten real big yet, but yeah, the bare knuckle boxing is starting to make a comeback, because that's how they took and did the boxing back in the old days. They just take and throw two guys in a ring and they go at it with a dukes up and stuff like that. You know, kind of like you see in those period movies and everything. But yeah, that you get hit by a fist with no kind of gloves on. That's gonna do some damn damage to you. That's for damn sure. That's like the MMA fight that happened over the weekend. I can't remember which two fight. I don't watch MMA a whole lot or UFC a whole lot, but I'll take and catch fights every so often. And these two guys, they took and it was for the middleweight or the welterweight. Has some good bare knuckle boxers in the 1800s. So how did that go out? My question is, how did like bare knuckle boxers take and go out of style, and the boxing we have, that we've seen for the last 50, 60 years take and become what's in vogue? I mean, I understand football doing all their stuff out of safety and everything like that, not wanting people to get head injuries, but how do you go from bare knuckle boxing without the science that we have today to the gloves and everything? I'll have to take and look him up, John L. Sullivan. I'll bring him up on one of my pages to read about after I finish the live stream. So yeah, I've got a page with him up on it. Take a read about him. But yeah, that's one of the things I've never understood, was how you go from the bare knuckle to the boxing gloves, like what's happened basically worldwide, without the kind of science that you have in sports like, football and everything like that, or even hockey or baseball and stuff. At what point in time they go to hard helmets in baseball. They didn't have the science, whenever they started. Well, they had the science when they started doing it. Have somebody hit the head with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball is going to cause some damage. But how do you take and go about the science of figuring out, all right, well, you're taking and getting punched in the face with bare knuckles. Oh, okay. Well, see, the more you know. G.I. Joe. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool, though. Let's see. I remember watching boxing, and boxing, as everybody's come to watch it, in the past 20 years or so, it's been littered with so much corruption and everything like that it fell out of favor. Whereas for the longest time, boxing was the largest draw as far as sports were concerned. Nowadays, You know, with the pay-per-views, they still don't take and draw the kind of numbers they did even when like Mike Tyson or Evander Holyfield and George Foreman took and boxed against each other. It just doesn't happen. You know, other than if you've got people like Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor wanting to take and not the piss out of each other, but still, I think everybody wanted to see the mouthy Irishman take and get his clock knocked off, and I think he did pretty good for staying in the ring. No, I haven't seen. We basically have to take and do pay-per-view around here to take and watch any kind of boxing. That or I have to take and stay up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to watch ESPN boxing, their boxing shows. Like if they've got matches and stuff like that they've sponsored, I've taken stay up to like 2 o'clock in the morning. UFC fights are too long. They're like 3 to 5 5-minute rounds. That's which that one boy only needed 5 seconds. Well, that one MMA fighter, what was it, 2 weeks ago? He only needed what, like 5 seconds? Took and did the flying knee to that one dude and knocked him out. Just boop. That was it. But see, the thing about the MMA is, I mean, they've got the stand-up fighters that's their specialty. There's a lot of them that they're really good at striking, but they're not so great at the ground game. So they go against these guys that are good with the ground games, not so great at striking. And that's when you get to watch strategy and stuff like that. That's pretty fun. Who the hell is Hoist Gracie and Dan Severn? 18 minutes straight. Who was it? Flacco. Yeah, Flacco took and we had a private group message or private group hangout on Google Hangouts, and Flacco had the last Pacquiao fight last week or whatever. He had that on pay-per-view, so he took and turned his phone or computer around or whatever. God, Butterbean was a fucking bruiser. Jesus Christ, that bastard was big. I remember taking and watching like Jackass after he had been retired and everything for years. I mean, he didn't lose a whole lot of fights. I mean, he's just boom. That boy had a belly and he had fucking power behind him. But yeah, we watched the Pacquiao fight, and damn, Pacquiao being as old as he is, he took it to that fella. Now, he didn't take and get a KO on him, but the other boy, you could tell. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, for some of these fellas as big as they are fast as shit. What's up, Jeremy? Thanks for stopping back by, buddy. We're just talking boxing and MMA and stuff like that now. I remember watching the Jackass episode where Butterbean knocked the shit out of Johnny Knoxville. And this boy had been out of boxing for years at that point. He still just, boop! Knoxville just crumpled, basically. Damn. I don't know, just boxing's finally starting to take and build back up to where people are starting to pay attention again. I mean, like in 20 years, it's almost like 20 years they took and went through scandal after scandal. So if they can come back to the forefront of things, or at least they can be back to, you know, a major sport that people consider watching, that I think that'll be good, because that takes a skill level and physicality that you just don't see a whole lot anymore, even with the MMA, because the MMA, like I said, they're like 5 rounds and 3 minutes long, and you can get your ass beat in that time. But at the same point in time, you're not going to see them take and go 12 rounds, 3 minutes at a time. Drunken One, what's up, buddy? So if boxing were to take and get back that point to where they're one of those sports that people take and watch, as a primetime deal, I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, that's true. I mean, look at Foreman. I mean, he took and retired, and he come back, and he had more. It looked like he had more fat than he had muscle, and he took and was still able to stand toe to toe in the ring with guys like Holyfield, uh, and I think he won. He had the title there for a little bit before he lost it. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. Even like Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis, whenever he first started out, was a lot of muscle, and then he started getting more, not so defined and everything like that. So I watched a documentary on what was his name? Tommy. He's that white boxer. Tommy was, took and played in the not the Rambo, but the Rocky movies. Tommy the Gun Morrison. That's who it was. Yeah, him. I watched a documentary on him the other day, and how he took and yeah, that was him, Tommy Morrison. Yeah, he had took and rose so quickly in the rankings or whatever. No, you're right. Uh, Ali wasn't he wasn't overly defined during his career as far as his muscle mass, but that mug could move around quicker than shit. But yeah, Tommy Morrison, he took and went like, golly, what did they say? It's like 202 or something like that, or 201 or 202 and 0 or something like that. It was like 50 or 60 knockouts as an amateur before he went pro. So, but yeah, he took and he had a title shot, and he got knocked down, or he got knocked out, and he was able to build himself back up and get a title shot again, but uh, come out with it that he had AIDS or whatever like that. So, but yeah, he was somebody. It seems like he was. See, I was young at that point in time. Tommy Morrison was coming out before I was born and after I was born. I was young whenever he was a boxer, so I don't remember none of that stuff. But yeah, I was reading where he come out and he was going to go for a title shot, and he wouldn't take and submit to the blood testing because he kind of knew that he had HIV. Hell, his mom said he knew that he had HIV like 5 or 6 years before that even happened. So, but yeah, it'd be good to stay and see boxing become relevant again. It really would. I know it's starting to take and gain some momentum, but yeah, that fella could he can knock the shit out of somebody. That's damn sure. He catch him with a straight left hook or a straight left jab, and they just crumple. Or he catch him with that right haymaker. I appreciate the raid, fellas. Y'all are awesome. In case I don't tell y'all that enough, y'all are awesome. Appreciate it. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those things that I guess whenever you got sports like NFL and NBA and MLB where they've got so much money they take and throw to the TV the they throw to the people that own the TV broadcasting or whatever like that. It's hard to take in for another sport to gain any kind of traction. I think it's one of the reasons why soccer hasn't caught on uh, any more than what it has here. Now it started to gain traction in the last 10 years, but it's still for it to be the world's biggest sport. It still doesn't have the traction like like it should. Drunken one, appreciate it, buddy. Um, but yeah, it doesn't have the traction. It doesn't have the traction like it should. And for that to be as physically demanding of a sport. All right, look. I don't know if I'm gonna call you all that. We cool and everything, but holy, yeah, that's yeah, that was the one that he was the one that Robert De Niro took and portrayed in that movie, Raging Bull. I think I've only seen that movie once in my life. But yeah, and was it yeah, soccer's a whole lot of running. Like a lot of running. Oh yeah, I'm watching the chat, drunken one. I've since I don't I've actually got my channel up so I can actually see what the chat's saying and everything like that. I don't have anything, not playing a game or anything like that, so there's no need not to take and have my channel up. That way if somebody rolls through I can interact and not seem like I'm a, you know, highfalutin snob or nothing like that. We can't be having people thinking that around here now, can we? Yes, I can read that too, sir. But yeah, and was Rocky Marciano? He took in one of the only boxers to retire undefeated. Like taking and watching some of his some of the old footage that you can find of him. Uh, like he was a scrappy fellow too. Yes, sir, drunken one. Love y'all to death, buddy. But yeah, boxing. I've had gin, but it was bottom shelf stuff, so it might not have been the best. Now I don't mind like if I drink when I do wind up asking for a martini somewhere. You know you can make martinis with vodka or gin. My understanding, I've always gotten it with gin. So, but as far as like drinking gin straight, no, I haven't. I haven't ever had it straight, but like I've had it like martinis and stuff like that. And wowzers, I can see the reason why that used to be, you know, a popular drink back then. What's up, Jason? The Beard Master. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know. I think Beer Man's got a bigger beard than I do, though. That son of a gun's beard's flowing. Like, flowing. Mine's just kind of compact. Well, if I did a panel in a little bit, Alex, I would have to take and actually restart the stream because I've got it right now where it's running through my OBS. So all y'all get to see is my ugly mug. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. But no, so do you drink gin there, Iron Man? Because like I said, I like it in martinis, but other than that, I really haven't had gin in pretty much anything. Yeah, the color's starting to take and come out, so you're starting to see the gray again. That's one of the reasons why I had my wife take and actually color the area that she did, is because it was going gray, and you know, I can't be looking that old. It just can't be happening that way. Hell, I'm aging like curdled cheese over here. Well, I'm trying to keep it up. European lagers. Is there a big difference between European lagers and American lagers? I know the lagers over here, they're kind of hit and miss, to be honest with it. Which, to be honest with you, I mean, the whole beer scene over here, I love craft beer, but it's so fucking inundated with all kinds of different stuff that it seems like all these breweries decide they need to take and make this beer style like everybody else is doing, and they jump on the hype train, and then, oh, dude, I'm sorry to hear about that, Jason. But they jump on that hype train, and it doesn't turn out, and it's just mediocre. Instead of taking and going and doing what they do best, they'll take and jump on whatever hype train, and it's like, man. So, but I don't know I don't know if there's a difference between them. Now, see, I wouldn't mind it if our lagers were like that and had more hop had some more hop flavor to them. Um, around you can get lagers here that have a bit of the hop notes to it, but it's not like, I don't know. It seems like most of the lagers that I've had, you'll either take and get a bit of the malt, and you'll get a bit of whatever like grain profile they took and made them with. But a lot of times you don't take and get the hops that they take and use. It just doesn't happen. Yeah, I was telling them that it was last week, and I might be on later to take and play Jason. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I don't care for Budweiser all that much. I don't really care for a lot of the macro brews that the U.S. has. But Budweiser, if you get it straight from like the factory, it tastes a lot better. But like most stuff that you buy off the shelf that from Budweiser, it just lacks. It really does. Yeah, Budweiser is king to those who don't like beer. But yeah, I think the beer culture over here, or the beer, I think beer over here in general, like especially as far as the craft is concerned, everything's just so inundated and oversaturated that we're about to take and see a major collapse of stuff. So I haven't tried the Old English 800. I've seen that. That's sold in the malt liquor sections over here. I haven't tried that before. Very skunky. I wonder if that's due to the fact they sell it in the clear glass bottles. Light takes and will take and make a beer skunky. Take and degrade the ingredients of it real quick, like. Yeah. I'll see. I haven't had a whole lot of stuff like that. Like over here, you see the Old English 800 and like King Cobras and the Schlitz and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff like that is labeled as like lagers and everything like that. But I haven't had none of them because I don't know. I always take and look at the 40 and the malt liquors that are like that, and it's just like something you would drink, and you drink one and a half, two of them, and then you wake up in like California, can't find your keys and shit like that. I don't know, man. I don't know why I've had that picture in my head of the malt liquors like that. But that's always just kind of, you take and see them. They're just so damn big. Favorite beer at the moment, probably be the Sweetwater Mango Kush Wheat Ale. It has a bit of the mango flavor to it. You can taste a bit of the wheat they use in the beer, and it's a very dank flavor, but it's not so overpowering that you can't enjoy it. And it smells like some strong weed, but it tastes really good, really really good. It's one of those ones that you see, and I got it I originally tried it in a variety 12 pack, and I did it for a review, and I didn't think I was going to like it because I love stout. Stout is my favorite style of beer. A good stout or a good porter, you can't go wrong with. Simple as that. Like the Founders regular breakfast stouts, fucking phenomenal. I A Scotch style ale done right is really good. Those have a lot of complexity and dark notes and everything like a stout will have, but it's a little bit more. How do you put it? I don't know. It's just what is it? Founders. What is it? Dirty Bastard or something like that. Yeah, the Founder's Dirty Bastard is the best one I've had, but I haven't had a Scotch ale either that tastes bad. But yeah, I love me some stout. Um, like I said, the breakfast stout from Founders is really good. We've got Westbrook Brewing is right up the road from me, about 45 minutes. Guinness is a good go-to. Um, Guinness is it's not an overly strong stout, but for the for the price and the flavor and everything like that, it's yeah, hell yeah, it's really good. You can't go wrong with Guinness. We got a brewery right up the road from me, and they take and make all kinds of beer. Westbrook Brewing, and their OFYMD stout, and their Mexican cake. What is it? Mexican? It's Mexican cake stout. That shit, or Mexican chocolate cake stout. That shit is freaking amazing. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that I've got to take and do a little bit of shopping. I've got to take and either go to one of the local bottle stores around here, or I've got to take and go back to. No, I don't brew beer myself. I do have some meads that I'm working on right now. I've got two of them that I'm waiting to kind of round out their flavors a bit. I tasted one about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and I tasted I've got a plum mead going, and I've got a chocolate mead going. And the plum mead, it had tartness, and that was about it. But it didn't really have a whole lot of taste other than the tartness. It had tart and bitter, and it was almost like too bitter. So I don't know if I had too much of like the. I know adding the peeling of the of plums can affect the flavor. I know I was reading to take and throw some, not all, but like the last two plums, take and throw in. Yeah, you make it with honey, and I took and what was it? I took and used 1.5 pounds of plums and right at 3 pounds of honey. So, and then I've got the chocolate one I've got going. I used 2.5 pounds of honey. I used like 30 ounces of Hershey's syrup. So I'm waiting to see how that one turns out. That one I'm excited for because tasting it 2 weeks after doing it. Not 2 weeks. No, it was like 3 weeks. I took it out of primary because everything had pretty much stopped at that point. Didn't have any bubbles. I didn't have any bubbles in the bottle itself anymore. There was no signs of fermentation whatsoever. A lot of times, so, and that was on either one of them. So I give both of them 3 weeks in primary, and then I took and racked them over. And I tried both of them while I was racking them over. The plum tasted better when I was racking it, the first go round. So I don't know if it's developed some off flavors or something, or it's just now that it's been in secondary. So I left them in secondary for another month before I even tried tasting the plum. And I don't know if it's because it's trying to round out the flavors, if it took and brought out that bitterness that you would take and get from the peel or something like that. But that's going to take long. Never had neither, to be honest with you. Never had neither. I know port wine is a stronger wine. I've never had sherry either, though. I don't drink a whole lot of wine. Like I'll take and drink like muscadine wine, and I've only had. Let's see, I'll drink muscadine wine, and I'll drink my meads. But past that, I haven't really tried enough wine to take and know, which ones are good and which ones are not. I've had wines that taste like freaking cork. They're so dry. Um, which happens with mead too a lot. They take and get all the way, they ferment all the way out, ferment all the sugar out, so you wind up getting that very, very, very dry taste to it. So, but yeah, that's then you back sweeten at that point. But yeah, I haven't tried a whole lot of wines. I mean, unless Mad Dog 2020 counts. I doubt that counts as wine. There was one that me and my wife tried about 10 years ago at an Olive Garden. Fruitiest freaking wine I've ever tasted. I cannot remember the name. Me and my wife have thought about looking for it. Barrel Labs. Yeah, I've got a keg myself. So, I like that. Barrel Labs. Never heard it. Never heard them called that, but yeah, I've got a keg. I ain't got a 6-pack neither. I haven't had a 6-pack since I was 17, 18 years old. Every so often I'll take and drink some liquor. It's not very often anymore. Used to. It's funny, whenever I was younger, I took and drank nothing but liquor. I didn't really drink beer a whole lot. I didn't care for it. We got a little kitten and he's making music on our AC vent, scratching it. But yeah, I used to drink a whole lot of liquor, and then once my third marriage, third time's a charm. She's awesome. But once I got married this last time, I took and stepped everything down. I quit drinking for a little bit, and I started trying. I've never really cared for Bud Light. It didn't have enough flavor for me. That was my drink of choice, Jack Daniels. I've paid their bill a couple times, their light bill a couple times, I think. But I took and, instead of going and buying like Bud Light stuff like that, I bought like Fat Tire and Blue Moon and other New Belgium offerings and stuff like that. And I found that the fact they were more flavorful and stuff like that, that's kind of what led me to doing what I'm doing now, which is, doing the beer reviews and everything like that. So, but yeah, Jack Daniels isn't too healthy, I don't think, for any of your body at all. At least not the portions I used to do it in. They say everything is okay in moderation. I don't know about all that. I don't know if you can do Jack Daniels in moderation. At least not when you're young. So, what's our? Yeah, it's mostly it's water, grains, malt, or your malt, yeast, and whatever hops you decide to use. We've had a couple of natural Mother Nature type instances around here, whether it be you're going to be getting a lot of rain, there's a chance of flooding, or we're supposed to have high winds, we got a tropical system coming in. You take and go to the grocery store, and we went to the grocery store before and taking and getting goods, so in case the power goes out, and you'll see that one fool that's got a buggy full of beer, and it's like, well, I guess you decided you're going to take and get your grains and your water all in the same place. Pretty smart. Don't need bread. You got the beer. It counts as both. And Jen, every so often I'll drink a little bit of moonshine too. Yes, I know. You're not supposed to. People aren't supposed to be making moonshine. I don't make it. I partake of it though. And if it's done right, that's a really good liquor. I don't see why it is. I don't see why it is that you can't take and you can do home brewing here, You can make your own wine at home, but you can't do distilling. Here in the state of South Carolina, you can take and do up to 200 gallons of beer a year for personal consumption. Who the fuck drinks 200 gallons of beer in a year? I don't think I drink quite that much, but still. And the same thing with wine. So it's like, look, you could take and restrict regulate that a little bit harder if you wanted to. I know in the local county jail they use bread and sweet tea, and if they can get a piece of fruit, and it smells fucking horrendous. I can't even imagine how it tastes. Ugh. It was just like y'all trying to get us in trouble, because it was every time they opened their drawer, a gallon a day. I say I don't quite drink a gallon a day. I'll drink a lot of times normally I'll drink 2 or 3 a day. Now if I take and join the hangouts with Drunken One and Jeremy Vincent and some of the other guys that are in here, I'll drink a 6 or 7 at a time. But now if I was 25, I used to drink a whole lot a day. I'd take and drink a 5th of Jack Daniels on myself in a day. Easy. Like I said, I paid their light bill a couple times. But yeah, I don't see why they don't take and be like, you can distill at home, but you can't make more than like 25 gallons in a year. Something like that. East Wind, what's up, buddy? We're just talking alcohol here. I'm just saying, I don't understand why you can't take and distill at home. At least make 25 gallons for personal consumption. They've got restrictions on, you can do your home brewing and you can do wine making, but yeah, a lot of folks don't understand that. You take and eat first and you eat after you get done drinking. A lot of times you don't have a lot of the same issues that you do if if you just take and drink, if you automatically just start drinking, or you take and eat in the middle of drinking. It doesn't quite, that's not going to take and do as good for you. Those that follow them, East Wind, I don't distill, but I'll take and make my mead here at the house. But I know a few folks that take and might do a distilling here and there. I'm talking about, distilling alcohol, not distilling, like, distilling. He's destilling this copper wire or something like that. Although I know idiots that do that dumb shit too, and I don't associate with them. Fucking retards. But yeah, it seems like they would take and be like, all right, look, you can make because here, like I was saying, here in South Carolina, you make 250 gallons a year of beer, 250 gallons a year of wine, all for personal consumption. So it seems like they would take and be like, all right, you can make 25 or 50 gallons a year of moonshine. Yes. I live, the Atlantic Ocean is 45 minutes away from me. And I grew up down in Mobile, Alabama on the Gulf of Mexico. And yes, shrimp is huge here. It's gotten a little bit expensive in the last couple years, but yes. One of my favorite meals is shrimp and grits. Absolutely love that. You can take and put them on the grill. Take and grill them a little bit. Some of those with a chunk of steak on the skewer and some pineapple or something like that. Not even, I say pineapple. Take and put my mind is not working like I want it to tonight. I'm sorry. Bell pepper. Take and put some bell pepper on there. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, and yeah, exactly, exactly. They want to take and that's the problem with the government, though. East Wind, they overregulate everything, like for real. You can't just steal nothing at your home. You can't own guns here or there. You can't do, but that's a whole different stream. Yeah, Baltimore. What was it? Already, Baltimore has over 500 murders this year. Just just so far since January. Yeah, yeah, buddy. Sounds like a peaceful little place, if you ask me. I think I'd like to visit there one day. I'll be right back, y'all. I'm gonna take and go grab something to drink.
Daddy, this the game you're sitting here watching, but I'm watching.
What are you watching?
I'm watching things that annoy me and stuff like.
And by the way, Iron Man, my I was gonna say my favorite seafood is flounder. I like those, and I like eating crabs when I can get a hold of them too. I grew up on both of those things. Peanut butter and cucumber. I can't say I've ever had that combination. But there are combinations of foods that people are like, wow, that just sounds weird. This might sound weird, but you take you one of the Vienna sausages that you get in a can, one of the small Vienna sausages. Take that, and you take one of the peanut butter and cheddar, like Ritz crackers or Lance crackers or what, or the Lay's or the Lance crackers that you can buy in like the 6-pack. Take one of each of those and put it in your mouth and chew it up. Take and get sweet and salty at the same time. Fantastic. You take one of those the hot pickled sausages that you can take and get from the convenience stores that come in the packages that are packaged in their own like fluids or whatever. The hot sausage juice that's in there. You take a bag of Fritos or even a bag of Doritos. You can open that once you get the hot sausage out. Or you can even tear the hot sausage up, take and put the bag with the Fritos or Doritos. Pour that juice in there. Stir it up a little bit. Fantastic. That's jailhouse food right there, but it's really good. It's it's funny what combos of food actually work together. Stuff that you'd never even think tasted good. People joke about folks that are in jail, but to be honest with you, like to take and celebrate people that get out of jail, I've seen them take honey buns and like Mars bars and like Snickers and like 2 or 3 different kinds of like bars, candy bars, and they'll take and some way they do it, they take and wind up making like a cake from it. See, now Spam with batter deep fried is all right. Now you take Spam and you take and mix Spam with macaroni and cheese, the combination of the two, for whatever reason, it's like a grease bomb in your stomach for somehow. I don't know how that works. I mean, you can cook some Spam up, take and cook you some macaroni and cheese. Sounds like a good pairing. Your stomach might not agree with you so much. But yes, Spam deep fried tastes good. A lot of people don't like Spam. I'll be honest with you. It's you take and read the ingredients for Spam. Mechanically separated chicken, fucking roadkill, basically is what. At least that's what a mechanically separated chicken is around here. But it actually tastes pretty damn decent. It's like potted meat. A lot of people take a look down on potted meat. You take some mayonnaise and some potted meat, put it on some bread, you got yourself a sandwich on that bad boy. Trying to think of some other weird combos. Can't think of anything off the top of my head. I had to trim this. I get too much of my daggone suds up in there. See, I was in the Coast Guard here I was in the Coast Guard here, and they our food was, I'll put it to you this way. There was only one on the ship I was on. Now, celery and peanut butter tastes good. On the ship that I was on, there was only one cook. The nights he cooked were the only nights anybody ever took and ate anything other than what was being cooked. My A school, or my training for being a yeoman, was in Petaluma, California, where they trained the actual cooks that were going out to the fleet. And oh my God, the food that we had access to there. Good Lord. And it was good. You take and have choice of like pork chops or steak and things of that nature to go along with, if you wanted hamburger or French fries. And then on Fridays, they took and opened it up to the public. And a lot of times, like the sheriff's office, the mayor and stuff like that of the town would actually come to the base, and they would eat there at the mess hall. And oh my God, we got a normal assortment of like steak, but you also had like filet mignon, and you had lobster, and you had crab legs, like snow crab legs, and you had flounder and stuff you didn't have access to Monday through Thursday. Oh, so good. And once I got out onto the ship, it wasn't a whole lot different as far as like quality of food. We had some pretty decent food, but I'll be honest with you, this might sound a little bit weird, but I'll take mayonnaise, and I'll take a teaspoon of mayonnaise, and I'll take and mix it in with lima beans. I even take and mix it in with my rice and eat it that way. I know it sounds weird and probably sounds disgusting, but I seen my uncle used to take it. My uncle couldn't gain weight to save his life back in the day before he died. He couldn't gain weight to save his life, and he would take and put mayonnaise on a lot of stuff. And I always thought the combination of the mayonnaise and the rice and the mayonnaise and the lima beans was kind of weird, but I tried it and I was like, oh, that's freaking amazing. But yeah, that's really good. That sounds good. Shrimp mayo sandwich. That sounds delectable. Be honest with you, I'd have a shrimp mayo sandwich. You already had me at shrimp. You add mayo to the mix. You're not gonna go wrong. It's funny because I took and come on here and I was like, yeah, I couldn't decide whether or not I was going to do a live show or whether or not I was going to take and do a pre-recorded video, because you see the title, NFL, NCAA football, The Boys, and video games. And The Boys is a TV show or a show that you can watch on Amazon Prime. I was like, fuck it, I'll take and do a live show. And I had bullet points laid out and everything like, or partial bullet points laid out, at least enough to take and keep me in line with something, because uh, I don't normally take and get a whole lot of interaction past, hey, how's it going? So and so raiding, and they're gone. And I'm glad you've actually stopped by, both of you, because normally I don't get this much interaction out of my chat unless I'm playing a video game and somebody stops by to watch that. So appreciate both of y'all adding to the conversation and taking me off the normal track that the track I had planned, because I find this a lot more interesting. Tuna mayo with chilled macaroni and sweet corn. Yes. Yes, I do. It's funny, a lot of people don't take and think of macaroni, or, chilled macaroni. A lot of folks have macaroni here, and it's, macaroni and cheese, or even like a, what do you call it? It's almost like chilled macaroni basically is like a macaroni type salad for us. It's a pasta salad style deal. But yeah, that sounds like a tuna salad that we would have. Because you got the tuna, you take some mayo, you take some macaroni, the elbow macaroni noodles, yeah, and sweet corn's a little bit different, but that sounds like it'd be a great addition to the mix. Are casseroles big there in the UK? I know here, depending on where you live at, casseroles can be a big thing. And so we've got access to lamb meat, but it's more expensive than the beef, and the beef is already outrageous at this point. Like, if we want to have steak or something like that, we got to catch it on sale. Even the ground beef and stuff like that is going up in price. I love shepherd's pie. Love shepherd's pie. Whoever thought of that shit was fucking genius. Like, for real. How you take and have two portions, two decent sized portions of a shepherd's pie, if you're not full after that, you got some problems. That shit right there sticks to your ribs. That's good on a to take and have if you've got to take and go to work at night and it's going to be cold outside or something like that. Or even hell, you good to take the lunch and heat up in the microwave. Fucking love some shepherd's pie. And see, I love eating lamb, but like I was saying, it's more expensive than the beef here, and the beef it's fucking outrageous. The prices of all our food has gone up, to be honest with you. It's stupid. Like, I think pork at this point in time is about the cheapest thing you can get, because even chicken is reasonably priced, but even that has gone up in price. And I remember being able to take and get like 5 pounds of hamburger meat for $5. See, now, chicken and dumplings, I love. Chicken and bacon stew with dumplings. So I've never had like a chicken and bacon stew. We've got, let's see, with dumplings. See, over here we've got stuff like chicken bog, which is chicken, rice. You can add corn to it, and it tastes really, really good. That you also take and add sausage to it. And a lot of people take like the grease from where they cook the sausage or whatever, and they'll take and pour it in and make it like a greasy bog or whatever. Tastes freaking amazing. Like chicken and bacon stew with dumplings. That sounds good. That sounds really good. It's not something I've ever had, but one of these days, me and my wife I might take and look up a recipe for some of the stuff you've been been shouting out. Like chicken and bacon stew with dumplings. That sounds really, really good. Here, I like a good chicken and dumplings. Like I said, we got this stuff called chicken bog, and Polish sausage is nice with eggs. I bet that is a good pairing. I was gonna say one of the other things I love to have is like gumbo. I grew up on that stuff coming from the Gulf Coast. We'd have gumbo for dinner, and you could take and eat, make it in a 5-gallon pot just about all the way to the top. And that's rice and chicken and sausage and shrimp, celery. Oh, so good. I need to stop talking about it. My mouth is already starting to freaking water. It's funny because I grew up I grew up on the Gulf Coast and moved up here to South Carolina. So a lot of the stuff that I ate down there isn't a big thing up here. And I'm gonna take and have my wife get the stuff to make some gumbo again this weekend, because oh my god, like I grew up on so much good seafood. I grew up. I used to go fishing, and we would take and go either underneath the bridge, or we take and go to the pier that was on one of the local islands, and we would take and catch flounder, or we'd catch mackerel or Spanish mackerel, Spanish mackerel or king mackerel. And my sister's grandpa would take and run a mullet net, and we take and eat the mullet, or we take and use it for. We would take and use that for bait if we want. Next time we went fishing, we'd have shrimp. He had crab. Her grandpa had crab traps. We'd have, talking about fresh. We had fresh fucking crab, like straight up. And one of my favorite seafood things ever is soft shell crab. And we would take it during the summertime. We would go out with these propane lanterns, or propane lanterns in a 5-gallon bucket when the tide was low, and we just pick up soft shell crabs, and then the next day for breakfast we'd have soft shell crab with grits, sausage, bacon, eggs, and some toast. Oh, it was, see, those, now I'm salivating again. Got to stop. I got to stop, I tell you. See, macaroni with cheese with ham. I've had macaroni cheese with ham. Never had mushrooms added to it. That sounds like That sounds like it would give it an interesting flavor, an interesting flair to the dish. That sounds really good. Yeah, I'm definitely going to take a look up some recipes for some stuff. Yeah, we talking all this food. I'm about to be raiding my own fridge here soon as well. I'm getting hungry again. And so I'm be finding something to make. But I tell you what, I appreciate you stopping by. It is kind of getting to be that time of night. I'm going to go ahead and end my stream here. Stop by anytime and chit chat. I enjoyed the hell out of this. I really did. Appreciate you stopping by and talking. This was fun. For anybody else that stopped by, give me and took and even if it's just for a second. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you saying something. You take care as well. So that being said, I'm gonna take and sign off for here. Remember, drink beer, play games, have fun. Peace out.